It's Gift T Makeke, the finest under the sun. Today it's Freedom Day here in South Africa, and I had to, make a statement literally without verbally saying anything. And I'm really excited. This is one of those holidays where you have to reflect, take that moment. To those who will bump into this video, maybe who will be in other parts of the world, here in South Africa on the 27th of April, we are celebrating Freedom Day, which is a day where we celebrate freedom and we commemorate the first post-apartheid election, where the first democratically elected president, Nelson Mandela, was elected, and he became the first black president, the first elected democratic president. I can only imagine how was South Africa on that day. I can only imagine people queuing in schools, people queuing in centers. Everybody was all out to cast their first ever vote, especially black people, because if we take a moment back, only white people had the full rights to vote. I'm saying full rights because other non-white Indians and coloreds, they had limited rights to vote, but blacks were not included whatsoever. They didn't have that right to vote at all. So on the 27th of April 1994, that's when everybody had that first opportunity. And then there was a build on before that day, in negotiations, interim constitution, so many talks between political parties and that government of that time. Then the 27th came. So I want to limit this engagement to freedom and the rights that we have that are from the Constitution. And I would also, all the rights in the Constitution are equally important. And I would like to focus on the ones that I wouldn't say that I personally like, but the ones that I exercise now and then, frequently, as I've made a statement initially. This is, I'm making a statement without saying anything. So that's where I want to limit the engagement. So I would, firstly, people always talk about, fully freedom. So Makai coming to varsity because we eventually practice freedom. And freedom can be defined as the right or the power to act, speak, or do as one please. That's the general meaning of freedom. And one of the constitutional values which underpins the country's values is freedom, dignity, and equality. So even the Constitution, like when you check the preamble and you look at the values, those are the three core values of the Constitution. And when we look at, that's where I want to center this conversation. In fact, like Section 16, under Chapter 2 of in the Bill of Rights, it gives provisions about Section 16, subsection 1. It says everyone has the right to freedom of expression, and it includes in Section 16, subsection 1, paragraph A, the right to the press and other medias. Then Section 16, subsection 1, paragraph B, it also says everyone has the right to receive or impart information or ideas, just like what I'm currently doing. The person who's on the other side watching this content will be receiving the information, and me on the other side, I'm imparting the information or ideas rather. So those are the constitutional rights. And speaking of the press, I had the blessing or privilege of at some point having newspapers to publish or publicize my story. And journalists even in the past, they've always played a huge role, challenging the system, challenging in to date. So those are constitutional rights. Then then as the section, as you read down in section 16, subsection 1, paragraph C, it says everyone has the right to artistic creativity, which is what I do almost actually on a daily basis, because I'm in the fashion space. I'm the founder and creative director of Langa Blues Fans, which is a fashionable clothing brand. And as what I'm currently wearing, this is artistic creativity, creating impasha, designs, and all of that. So that is the constitutional rights, and those are the benefits of freedom. Then the paragraph D in section 16, it talks about academic freedom, like you having the right to academic research. I've done that in my LLB, recently done that in this postgraduate or the short learning programs. Then when you read down, it talks about that the rights, however, have limitations, does not include you using your freedom of expression to incite wars or propaganda. And it also talking you about maybe you talking publicly to incite violence. So those are a little bit of limitations to that right. And for me, as I've said, this is one section, this is one of the rights in the Bill of Rights that I resonate with the most, because I'm a creative mind. So artistic creativity is something that I have to know. We normally say fashion is expression, and this day having that, in as much as I feel it's extremely important for us as the youth to always internalize these days, commemorate these days, celebrate the benefits that came with these days. Just like today, we're commemorating as the first democratic election, but we're celebrating the freedom. Because remember, there was a time in our lives whereby when I say Jozi is our court, the hustle is our sport. There was a time in South Africa where you would have to be in a certain place until a certain time. For instance, just like Jozi here in the big cities, you would only be here until